Frequently overheard in the faculty lunchroom are stories about the hike. One story was about this guy who went on the hike in dress shoes and got blisters and had to be helped back. Another story was about a lady who went on the hike and she panicked along the hike, got scared, turned around and went back by herself, then getting lost, but she was rescued by Bedouins. The last thing I heard was that the hike wasn't actually a hike, it was more like bouldering. Okay, so these are all gross exaggerations, obviously. My husband and I are in great shape. We brisk walk 3 miles a day, followed by weightlifting. And because we're in such great shape, I figured we can go on the hike. So I go and I track down this guy named Andy who runs or leads the hikes. Tell him, all right, the next time you go, we want to go too. So he says they're going next Wednesday, so we sign up to go. On the day of the hike, I'm in the faculty lunchroom. I'm bragging and boasting about how we're in such great shape and we're going on the hike that day. I then go to Andy to make sure the hike is still on. He says, yeah, sure. But he also says, by the way, do you have a 4x4? And I'm thinking to myself, and then I ask him, why would we need a 4x4 to go on the hike? So he explains that they're going to start the hike in one place and end in another, and the terrain is a little rough. So, okay, all right, that's fine. I'm standing talking to him at his computer, so while I'm there, he shows me the hike trail that he's got up on Google Maps. He shows me how the hike starts at one area, it goes up over the mountain and comes down the other side. Now I'm looking at a Google Map image and it looks like a mountain, but maybe it's not really a mountain, because if it was a mountain, they would not say that it was a hike. All right, so that day we get in our sedan following all the 4x4s and we start traveling towards where the trail is going to start. I can see the cotton ball clouds in the sky, the mountains in the distance. Perfect day for a hike. We arrive and pull off the road into a field. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking ahead of me at what appears to be a mountain. Now there are hills that I would climb and there are mountains that I would not climb. And I'm processing in my mind, how do I distinguish between that which I would climb and that which I wouldn't? Now, I remember from a couple of weeks ago, we went to the Burj Dubai, which is the tallest building in the world at about 163 stories. And in order to get the base of the building and the top of the building in the same picture, I literally had to lay all the way down on the ground. So from that, I figured that the way to distinguish between a hill that I would climb and a mountain that I would not climb has to do with the angle with which one has to tilt one's head. This mountain that I was looking at was probably a 30-degree angle. Not Mount Everest, which I wouldn't climb. Not a hill, which I would climb. Somewhere in between there. But I'm watching as my husband and our friends are all getting out of their cars, all excited, preparing to go on the hike, and I'm trying to figure out why my husband thinks that we are going to climb this mountain, because now it is no longer a climb, all right? It is no longer a hike. It is no longer a hike, it is definitely a climb up a mountain. But he's preparing to do this, everybody else is preparing to do this, so I'm hearing in the back of my mind words that Jerry had mentioned earlier. She said, don't think about it, just do it. So I take off with the others across the field, I get to the base of the mountain, and we begin to climb. I'm not the last one in line, I'm second to last, and I'm okay with that. So we climb a little more until eventually I do become the last in line, but I'm still okay with that because I'm climbing, I'm feeling pretty good about this, this is a challenge, I'm doing something that I didn't think I'd be able to do. The further I go up the mountain, my lungs begin to engage me in conversation, and they explain to me that a 3-mile brisk walk followed by weightlifting is insufficient preparation for mountain climbing, which takes a lot of aerobics and leg strength. After this conversation, my thoughts begin to segue from, gee, this is a challenge and I'm having fun, to what was I thinking? I am now ready to get down off of this mountain while I can, and before they have to carry me off the mountain, so that I do not become the subject of tomorrow's lunchroom conversation when they talk about Alita being carried off the mountain. So I look ahead at those who are now almost a football field away, and I wave goodbye, turn around, and begin to descend the mountain. As my husband and I drive out of there, we are talking about how we're going to change our exercise routine, incorporate more aerobics, more leg exercises, and plan for the next time we take the hike.